Hello from Brussels. I'm really sorry not to be there with you. This looks like an extremely interesting conference, and it's a conference that's taking place in exactly the right place and at the right time. The Black Sea is obviously very much on NATO's mind right now for maybe not the best reasons. The security environment is well known to all of you, but you also know that NATO is there, that we have ramped up our presence. The Supreme Allied Commander has enhanced the vigilance in the area. The United States and France and other allies have deployed assets to the area. And of course, Turkey is stepping up its efforts as well. So you can be sure NATO is with you. We are there physically and we are there politically. The Black Sea is very much on NATO's political agenda here on a day-to-day basis. And it's a timely conference also because of the issues that you're dealing with, artificial intelligence and cyber. So let me very briefly address how we see these three issues: your security, AI, and cyber. So let me start with AI. I think many people at the conference, including the Ukrainian delegates, are going to talk about how artificial intelligence is deciding battlefield outcomes in Ukraine. And that's very important. You'll hear a whole host of examples. Data fusion that's taking place in real time, from satellites to drones to other sources of intelligence. Natural language translation of unencrypted Russian communications, which allows, using AI tools, Ukraine to sift through the huge volume of that information and get to what really matters and be able to use it in an operational way, and to enhance cyber defenses. And I'll come to that in a moment, by improved incident analysis and detection of malware. So AI is deciding battlefield outcomes now. Cyber, Ukraine is obviously a case study in how important effective cyber defenses are. Cyber underpins everything. Sometimes people look at cyber as something you do, cyber defense as something you do after you've done everything else. But if you look at Ukraine, the fact that cyber defenses function means that essential government services function, essential military services function, people know where to go, they know how to communicate with their loved ones, and President Zelensky is able to be on the air, motivating the population and also motivating us to provide the military equipment that Ukraine is using to defend itself. So cyber defense is essential for battlefield outcomes. So there's a lot of lessons out of Ukraine that we can all learn. On AI and on cyber, we are learning those. Very important lesson when it comes to both is to have a stronger engagement with the private sector, and I'm sure that you'll be discussing that as well. But when it comes to cyber defense, it also means having the right people, training them, having redundancy, having air gapping of essential critical infrastructure, moving things to the cloud, moving data to the cloud. So there's really a lot that we can learn, and I'm sure you'll be discussing there as well. Then broadening the lens a little bit on AI. Artificial intelligence is full of potential for positive effects, for data fusion, as I mentioned also for warfighting, but also for more effective cyber defenses, because AI can scan the entire network at pace and detect anomalies and patterns, for translation, for basic functioning of, for example, this headquarters, for developing scenarios, for exercises, lots of potential. But there are very fundamental risks. For example, when it comes to disinformation, in my country, Canada, has just announced a Chinese disinformation program that was dismantled to try to undermine certain government ministers using AI-generated deepfakes and other AI-generated disinformation. Political interference. You might have seen that the 5 heads of the intelligence services of the Five Eyes community recently announced publicly, and for the first time, how extensively these tools are being used to interfere politically in our democratic systems. For cyber defense, because AI tools, generative AI tools that are out now, can generate perfect fake images and audio and video, they're super effective for phishing. And phishing is how 90% of cyber intrusions take place, simply by faking your way in. Well, with these tools, you can really do it. But also, I'm quite concerned about proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. These tools, if they are jailbroken, if you can get around their restrictions, and you can, they can, for example, help malign actors generate a novel virus. So a tool was challenged to do that a few weeks ago, and in 1 hour developed 600 new viruses, and the researchers decided to publish this. So you can imagine the democratization of this information is something we really need to be aware of. In that context, we need to look at China. China is a profound investor, a heavy investor in these tools. President Putin has just announced also that Russia should be investing more in these. So we really need to be very, very careful that we are competitive when it comes to AI. Finally, what is NATO doing about this? Well, we have focused on AI very carefully, and now in a much more profound way just in the last few weeks and months for all the reasons that I outlined for you. So we have we have an update coming to our AI strategy, but we've also looked at a number of new decisions with an eye to ministerials early next year to try to enhance NATO's ability to both foster and acquire these technologies, but also protect ourselves against their malign use. We have principles of responsible use. You can read them on the website, and we are developing a tool to ensure that the AI tools that we acquire in the NATO enterprise follow these principles, democratic principles, that will give companies confidence that when they sell us a product, we'll use it in a responsible way, and give our militaries confidence that when they use it, it'll do what they think it's going to do. And that's very, very important for us. We're going to be very focused on operational experimentation, bringing these tools to users so they can see how they work and hopefully then adopt them. We are reforming our acquisition processes so that we can actually get them at the speed or close to the speed at which they're being developed. And that's hard for an organization like ours. I think it's hard for a lot of governments to move at the pace of relevance of acquisition for AI tools, but we need to do it. And we have our startup structure, Diana, and our Deep Tech Innovation Fund, the €1 billion fund, both of which will be investing in these tools to make sure that we get access to dual-use, commercially available technologies also for defense purposes. And I'm happy to say that we see that the innovation community in the private sector is more and more interested in working with NATO and working with defense establishments. So we are doing our best to do this. So with all of that, just to lay the foundation for where NATO is and what NATO sees on these issues, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you. I wish you an excellent conference, and we all look forward to the results of it to feed into our thinking here in Brussels. Thank you.